What's up, Tube? Welcome back to Leg Weirdos Chop Shop. Second best Tube gel Orbi slinging channel around. A lot of people have been asking me what's going on with the DSG build, and if you were paying attention to the last one, you'll note that I yeeted the rack right out of the piston, and yeah, it died. The rack left. So I've been waiting for a new piston to arrive, and I've been waiting a long time. And I actually found out what happened to that piston that broke. Now the reason that happened is to do with the bushes and this MK gearbox, and I'm going to get into that shortly. A lot of people also kind of wondering what's going on with Scar 1000, and what might actually happen is what the results of this may affect the results of this. So that's for the Scar 1000, and this is the DSG. Now, what has actually happened is I have found that the reason that the plunger broke. Let me just get you. So it actually ripped the rack right out. Let me see if I can get some lighting in here. Sorry, guys. It actually ripped the rack right out of it and broke the piston here. This is not the piston. This is a replacement one. And the reason for that is the actual sector gear was not perfectly where it should be. And what was happening is, instead of the teeth of the sector, let me just grab a sector for the purposes of demonstration. What was actually happening is where this, if this was the right way around, this should go here, and it should, the teeth should go into the rack. But what actually happened is, rather than the teeth going in the rack, they did, but the gear was ever so slightly, and I'm going to exaggerate this, the gear was like sitting over here, too far up. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, what I'm trying to say here. But instead of the teeth lining up with this slot, they sat like marginally. Like, I'm super exaggerating this, but basically what was happening is the teeth were coming out and actually hitting the side of the plunger, this plastic, and smashing it, rather than actually getting into the teeth. And it was only by the tiniest amount. And I did not have any shims on this side of the gear. So the gear's like basically too high up, although there's no shims under it for me. Like, I couldn't get it any lower because it was literally sitting hard in the bushes, which, if you were watching my other videos, you'll notice were like they were literally friction fit into the gearbox. I heated the gearbox up and froze the bushes to get them in there. So they're in there really tight. They're not going anywhere, and I can't get any more movement on them. I can't move the sector laterally anymore that way to stop it from smashing into the side of the plunger instead of engaging the rack. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to actually remove the bush from the other side, and I'm going to have to either grind it down, which I don't want to have to do because that's messy and annoying, or I'm going to have to find myself a set of slimline bushes, and there are slimline bushes available. They're, again, few and far between, but I'm probably going to have to get the slimline bush at least on the other side so that I can move this gear down and then like shim it up a little bit into the correct spot, because even though it was very close, it looked about right, but it wasn't until it's interesting the way it works, because when the piston is sitting in the box and you're building it with half the box there, the piston sort of rocks this way a little bit because it's not in the grooves to hold it there, so it just sort of rocks that way a little bit. And so you just sort of, when you look at it, you take for granted that when it's in the box it's going to be up a little bit further. So if it does appear, it looked like it was alright when half of the box was together, and you just kind of make the presumption that when the whole box is together that it's going to sit correctly and everything's going to be fine. But in this case it wasn't. And it's probably the first, it's definitely, it is the first time I've ever seen the sector being up so high that it actually hits the plastic instead of engaging the rack. I've definitely seen some sectors that need to be shimmed around a bit to get them into place, but not in that direction. It was a first for me. So I am going to have to do something about the bushes, which means more ordering parts and more waiting for parts. So unfortunately this is not going to be something that's going to be fixed overnight or whatever, and to be honest, this is not huge on my priority list. Like, it's not, I got way more other things that are going on, just not necessarily even with blasters, but with life in general, that this is not a high priority for me. Sorry for those who are like, I don't know, waiting for the next installment. But yeah, we are going to have to wait longer because of the bush situation. So it might pay if you do have one of these MK boxes and you don't have the slimline bushes. It might pay to make sure you get the slimline bushes. I've built MKs with these bushes before and not had issues. So I don't know, maybe it was a one-off, maybe maybe the bushes that I got were marginally thicker than other bushes I've received in the past. The problem with these SHS bushes is that I've bought about 5 of the same bush and ended up with 5 different bushes, like batches. The tolerances between different batches come out different. Sometimes they're not even real, sometimes they're fake ones, and I don't know. It's a little bit of a lottery when you're ordering gel blaster parts, and it always has been. But for whatever reason, the bushes that I have here haven't worked out for me, and I'm gonna have to get new ones. So that's what's going on there. I think that's pretty much all I have to say on that topic at the moment. So yeah, what can I say? if you're interested in a patch, hit the link below to my Facebook, send me a DM, and we'll work something out. That's all from me for today. Just a short update on where things are on the DSG because people were asking. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe, because there is that thing that is happening that I'm doing. You should all know what it is. And it's going to happen soon. Alright, peace.